everybody, I'm the Sayonara Punk, and this is the Spoiler Podcast. We're going to be going over some games, movies, TV shows, entertainment, and right now we got Ivar schooling Joshy a little bit on the anime tip. We were talking about the latest season of My Hero Academia. And then, so you're
awesome.
all the way caught up on My Hero, right?
Yeah, I watched that show since it came out, and I'm waiting for the next episode. You know, I'm that guy.
Right. So I didn't watch all the. Well, and then Sword Art went on.
Sword Art Online is very good. It's very good. It doesn't produce the feels, you know, like My Hero does, but it's interesting, and it gets a little dark too. I mean, honestly, like you're thinking, oh, video game world or whatever, and they're inside this world, and then the creator of this video game world, this system, made it so they couldn't get out.
Is it still running? Does the show still run?
They have new seasons. There's like Sword Art Online, all these variants of that original series, but I haven't watched those because after I watched the second one, it just didn't seem as good. But that first one was pretty darn good, but it wasn't like My Hero or Attack on Titan or something like that. But it does have a little dark aspect. Like I said, when he makes it so they can't get out. And then it kind of goes into what their families do on the real world at some point. And they're basically like nursing these people in the VR that can't eat, you know what I mean? They're in the real world. They're just laying there. And it's kind of dark because they're all going to like die, you know?
Yeah, you just turn into like a mush human in a VR world.
Yeah, you're just stuck in the VR and their families are like, it kind of goes into how they're being taken care of by their families, just sitting in the VR. You know, it's kind of messed up a little bit. But for that's how anime is though. A lot of times, it's like, oh, it looks so cute, and it's so like we're talking about with Todoroki. It's like, oh, it's so cute and funny and weird and goofy,
and then all of a sudden,
then all of a sudden, it's a flashback of
your face.
Wife beater and child abuse. You know,
right.
It's like, whoa. But that endures you to the character, you know, and that's what gives you the feels.
Yeah, and I like that about My Hero too, is that there will be something adult that just comes out of left field, but it fits in perfectly when it happens. You're like, oh, like the little perv guy, Grape. What is his name? Grape.
Whatever, I forget. I love that
Grape
little character.
Yeah,
too.
he's just a little pervy guy.
Yeah, he wants some pussy, man. What can you say? And it's funny the way that they always have that character too, though.
Well, what was the name of the really big anime where it's all like a little pervy guy like that? You know which one I'm talking about?
I'm not sure.
It's like a famous one. Where it's a little guy, it's a little guy.
Robot
the same
Bubblegum.
As that too. No, not Robot Bubblegum. It was. I think it was even on like Adult Swim and Cartoon Network at a point.
Oh, no, that might be not the Seven Deadly Sins. Does it look like a little blonde guy, but he was short?
No, he was a little short guy with black hair, and he was always getting into some sort of like pervy adventure kind of.
Oh no, I never watched it. It's funny.
You know which one I'm talking about?
I don't think I do.
I'm drawing it sounds familiar.
You said it was on. They always
Adult
have
Swim?
that.
It was on Adult Swim for a period, I think. Dang, I can't remember his name. The name of the show or whatever. But I kind of felt like the character was a throwback to that character.
Well, they do that a lot. Like I said, even when I'm saying the Seven Deadly Sins, that the main character in that, Nats, whatever they call him, he's kind of pervy. You know, he's always grabbing on that girl's boobs and stuff. And that's like the whole reason my brother watches that show, Chad, and he doesn't watch anime at all. So there is something like human about the perviness of certain characters, you know, that I think is attractive to, especially teenage boys. That's why they love the anime. That's why old men love the anime.
Right. And that's what I was saying about
cliche
like
shit that they do.
I
Perfect.
I love all the girls in My Hero. They're all like so well done, and I root for them all. I like them all. There's not one of them where I'm like, ugh, fuck her, of any of them really, which is kind of rare because usually there's some sort of annoying character in a lot of animes. Even that's the thing about My Hero too, is there isn't any characters that are annoying. I feel
It's like Evangelion, where
he's
it was
I
so
hate
amazing.
the kid.
Everything, the production value, everything, the quality of everything is so good, but you can't watch it because that character is such a bitch.
Yep.
And they don't do that in My Hero. It's like they make him vulnerable, but they don't make him a bitch. And that's what I like. I don't like.
Are you thinking of Samurai
heroes.
Champloo? Isn't
No.
one of the old guy in Samurai Champloo kind of pervy?
No, another excellent anime though. That Samurai Champloo.
Yes,
that was
Champloo's
really
the
good.
best. Yeah, that's one of the best ever. That's definitely in my top 3.
I'm in top 5 for that one. They don't produce the feels. That's more adult though.
Okay, so what
what
is your top? What is your top 5?
If I had to think of it right off the
Yeah,
top
if you
of
have
my
to go.
head,
Yeah,
just,
if you
I
have to
don't know
go
if
1,
it's-
2, 3, 4, 5.
no, number 1 is gonna be. Oh man, I would have to say probably Naruto, just because I loved that show so much. But
And it's so
But
epic.
man,
it's so many episodes.
so many. It goes on for so long. The characterization they go through, there's so much, and so that's definitely 1 or 2. I like My Hero just because of the pacing and the way. I'm sorry, there's never been a show I've watched that's just been like episode after good episode right in a row. Naruto, like I said, there's 300 episodes that are worthless.
Right. It's just purely filler.
Yeah, it's just you could just skip them completely and it wouldn't affect anything. But you skip an episode in My Hero, you missed a lot.
Right.
And
Yeah, you did miss a lot if you skip an episode. If you skip a whole episode, you missed story.
Yeah, you're going to be kind of lost, and you're going to have to, and obviously they'll do flashbacks and all that stuff, and you'll figure it out. But each episode has an impact on the full story. That's why My Hero's so good.
Yeah. Okay. So you got Naruto 1, and then My Hero 2.
Yeah, right now I might put My Hero at number 1, and who knows how long they're going to go on with that show.
Right. It's definitely the champ in waiting where it can overtake.
Yeah, totally.
Depending on how
absolutely.
the next.
And
5
then I
seasons
loved Bleach, but again, there's even more worthless episodes in Bleach than there is in Naruto.
I mean, Bleach for me, I'm putting the first season was one of the best seasons ever, and then after that first season, it never lived up to that first season. I feel like it's how do you say his name?
Yeah, you're right.
Ulquiorra?
I'm not putting Bleach in my top 5, even though it has
Right.
one of the best episodes ever in anime.
Yeah, and it had some of the there was one-off episodes that were so epic that it like wowed me. Where
Well, the OSTs in Bleach are what get you, man. That fucking funky
Yeah.
music, and they bring it in at the, it's like, "Wah," and it's like, whoa, dude, this is fucking weird. And they have those, all these different kind of like worlds where he went to the demon world, and the moon was always like this crazy crescent looking moon. Everything looked so bizarre and weird in that show that it was just, and the music, it brought it all together so well. And then again, you'd have 10 episodes of total shit.
Yeah,
before you got
where
back
it was just
to that.
like baby, and they'd go to that like babyish kind of like cutesiness, where I don't even know who that's for, really.
Are you thinking of
Yeah,
Master
not in that
Roshi?
kind of show. Not in that kind of show.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and who is enjoying that level of cutesy like babyishness, where it's like, I mean.
No, you're
Women
right. You're
don't
right.
even
When I
like
think about
that.
it, they had that. I forget what the character was, but he had that little doll that he made into like I forget what they called him, but it was basically like the little thing inhabited this doll. And it was like a little lion doll, and that thing was always in there, and that shit was annoying. Even though he's like a big part of the story, that character
Right.
sucked.
It was like it was honestly just like a failed idea. I feel like where it sounded good initially, like he's gonna have a familiar and it'll be like cute and like that sounds good on paper, cute,
Yeah,
familiar.
you're right. And as we talk
plush
about it, I knock
toy.
it down on my list. So I'm knocking that back to maybe 6. I'm going to put it out of the list for now.
All right, so who's 3?
3, I gotta go Ergo Proxy. I just thought that was so good.
It really
Such
was.
a achievement artistically that
Yeah,
you gotta
and
put it in
unique
there.
too. Yeah, that's a
Right.
unique, original. The styles and that noir kind of like
Yes.
black watercolor.
Yeah, totally.
which
and
no
just,
one else has
and
really
the
done.
headiness of it, was
Right.
just like
You're 3/4 of the way through with tons of information given on to you, and you still don't know what's going on.
right.
Like, you have so much information that you've digested about it, and so about the overarching mystery too, and that's what's cool about it too is like it's like one gigantic mystery that patterns down like fractally, like to where you're in one of the little fractals of mystery, just kind of glimpsing this larger overall mystery that you can't even like wrap your head around fully.
Right, and it's all technical and spiritual at the same time, and you don't know.
Right, lots of good metaphors in it too.
Yeah, it's just a thinker, and the art is beautiful, so you
Yep.
can't go wrong with that.
And the different feelings you go through in the show too, like it starts in a very different place when you're in the city, and it's kind of like a detective type story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're thinking,
and
yeah,
then
totally.
By
And
the
it turns
time you
into
get
just
out to
something
like
else.
the desert, basically, when they're just out in the wasteland, it's this totally different feel. But you're digging it just the same when you get
Right,
there.
but then they still are adding the contrast with Pinot or whatever her name was, and she's all pink,
Right.
but she's
Yeah.
backdropped by this hellish environment, dark, but she's in this little pink bunny rabbit thing. But the
Right.
way the contrast was in that show was just like, I don't know, it was on point. It was good.
Okay, so yeah, and Ergo Proxy is one of those that kind of slip through the cracks too, where even a lot of people that watch a lot of anime, you'll bring it up to them and be like, "Have you seen Ergo Proxy?" And they're just no. They're like, what?
That's
Well, that was, and it was also in the era when they still basically hand drew everything too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's all hand drawn, except for some. You can see some of the computer stuff, like with the vehicles and some of the robots and stuff. But essentially,
Right.
is basically hand drawn. When they use the programs nowadays, even in My Hero Academia, we're not really drawing every frame anymore.
Right.
They're rigged. They rigged them things up. So it does definitely have the art. Like I said, you don't see the art like that anymore. It doesn't look like that anymore, and I kind of miss that.
I
Right.
agree with that, definitely.
Okay, so it's got Naruto, My Hero, Ergo Proxy, and then what's coming in at 4?
Coming at 4 for me, I gotta go Dragon Ball Z, because that's the show that I watched when I was a teenager that got me into anime, and like I wouldn't say it if they didn't come out with that Dragon Ball Super movie and that whole Dragon Ball Super series just recently. And to me, even though it was like there was a lot of shit episodes in there too where you didn't need to watch it or whatever, the ultimate super power battle, that's the only way you can do it. Like, they set the bar for OP. They set the bar. And I'm sorry. I heard a guy on the YouTube the other day talking about how Superman was more powerful than Goku, and making all these references.
No.
Making all these references back to obscure comic books where Superman like warped into space and fought some villain, and I'm just thinking to myself,
What?
not you see, Superman. Oh my
Goku,
god!
Goku demolishes Superman.
I know, it's not even close to
down.
me. It's not even
Yeah.
close to me. If you just get Superman away from the yellow sun, he's fucked.
Yeah, Goku
Yeah,
can hold
I mean-
kryptonite no problem.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck. And if you just, he can teleport himself anywhere in the universe. He can
Exactly.
He can freaking. It's OP times a million. That's why I love Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
It's
and it's
like
OP
how-
times a million, and then he trains at high altitude, at zero gravity, and
Or a million
multiplies
times
that.
gravity or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and then multiplies
Well,
that.
they don't even
on top
do that.
of itself.
They don't even do that in Dragon Ball Super anymore. And in Dragon Ball Super, it's like God level. It's not even. It takes it. That's why I got to put it number 4. I have to, because after Dragon Ball Super, you cannot make OP superpowers look like anything else to me in my mind. Like, it has to look like that. They set the bar. And you should watch it too, by the way. They got that Dragon Ball Super Brawly movie, and it is just a fucking hour and a half of screaming and lasers and like fucking. It's so good, dude. I know people hate
Sounds
that
good,
shit, but I fucking love it, and it looks. And they hand drew a lot of it. You can see where they put in like 3D cameras and shit. But again, it looks. They didn't change anything. They didn't change the formula at all. They just made it more OP. And so it all looks the same, you know, as it did in the freaking late 90s, which is funny to me. But just the way they make them do it, it's awesome, dude. It's definitely number 4. It could be higher. I'm sure on a lot of people's list it's higher, because that's a pretty epic show too.
It's one of the originals, man. Oh, and speaking of, back to your pervy old guy, it was Master Roshi from Dragon Ball.
Master Roshi from Dragon Ball is a great character.
Yeah, he was the pervy old guy I think he was talking about, because he's the one that travels around.
Pervy old man. No. He's talking about a whole show that's based around the pervy.
Based around one character.
It's this little kid that kind of. There's some people that know exactly what it is.
It's probably pretty famous in some circles, but I'm like,
nah, I don't know that.
I watch a lot of anime, but I skip a ton of it because of like that. Like, I'm not interested.
Well, there's so much of it. I think 70% of Japan's storytelling is done through manga and anime.
Absolutely, nowadays it is. You go through, there is a genre tab on whatever anime site you like, and they got a genre for everyone. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. There is an anime that is for you. And
it's true.
You could be a gay sports person, you got an anime. You know, it's like, it's so fucking crazy, dude. They cover every type of person you could be and have an anime for that.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm more into you know, the more just popular animes like everyone else, you know. Action, shonen.
Right. Yeah, all the shonen stuff's great. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Dragon Ball, but I haven't. You don't need
to watch Super. Just watch Dragon Ball Super Brawly movie, and basically you can get an idea of all of Dragon Ball Super. Except for you're not going to see Ultra Instinct, which is like the whole thing you build up to at the end. You know, because that's what Dragon Ball is all about, is leveling up. You know what I mean? It's all about that. And so it's like, where do you go from Super Saiyan 3? You know what I mean? Well, they figured it out in Dragon Ball Super. It's fucking Ultra Instinct.
Right.
and doesn't have anything to do with anything except it's just basically God power, you know. And when he achieves this form, he goes through in like the whole series. He's building up the, you know, they don't have an enemy that could beat Goku, so they have to throw gods at him. You know what I mean? And so like the creators of the universe, the Xenos. Because they time traveled to solve their problems, they created a new universe with a new Xeno, and they fuck everything up. So the Xenos are the creators of the universe, and they can make everything vanish in a second just by, you know, they're God. And so the Xenos are like, okay, we got to destroy this timeline, and then accidentally Goku, because he's dumbass, like turns the Xenos onto this idea of a tournament of power, you know. And so basically the Xenos are like, okay, we'll have a tournament, and the winner gets to have a wish from the Mega Super Dragon Balls, and all the losers' universes get destroyed. So they don't exist
anymore.
Their
entire universe gets destroyed?
And the entire universe. And there's 12 universes. It's basic. Wow. It's basic. You know, all that stuff's just basic Japanese or Asian. You know how they have. They believe in the Zodiacs, or not the Zodiacs, but like all those different animal signs.
Universe exists under a different sign.
So they did 12 universes because there's 12. You know what I mean? How they break shit down.
12
like
Zodiac signs or whatever.
Right. Well, it doesn't do that in the show, but it kind of seems like they correlate those numbers when they do that, you know, kind of stuff in anime. You know, there's always like something backing that idea from like a religion or a Japanese myth or something like that. So anyway, there's 12 universes, and they're all going to get destroyed, and they're all fighting to see who wins and saves their universe and gets the wish or whatever. And then Goku, like, is leveling up to this form, like, through this process. At the end, especially, like, he gets little stints of Ultra Instinct as he's fighting. And it's so good the way they build it up until he finally gets the fucking full Ultra Instinct, you know? And
It's
I
all
love
just-
that shit.
It's one giant sex metaphor.
Kind of is, dude. And I think it's great, dude. I think it's great. It's the way they animate it is just hilarious, and it's got to be watched, dude. You got to watch it at some point.
You're talking about Dragon Ball Super?
Yeah.
See, I haven't watched any Dragon Balls since Z. I
Oh
mean,
well, then
it's
you could
been-
pick. Well, it's the same shit. You could pick Dragon Ball Super up and not skip a beat. Really, it's the same
Jeez.
shit. And but there's 139 episodes or something like that, so it's not even that much to watch, to be honest, if you rifle through it. But that when you get to the end and they do that final battle, man, it's like, yeah, what is, dude? It's they just do it so ridiculous. Like I said, watch Dragon Ball Super, the Brawly movie first, and if that gets your curiosity up, go ahead and start watching the show. You could skip like 10 episodes in the row, honestly, in Dragon Ball, and you're not really missing. That's one of those shows where it's not filler, but you know what's happening. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're not getting shocked in Dragon Ball. You know, it's fight, fight, fight. Goku's
Power
gonna
up.
win. There's not gonna, it's gonna make you think that he's getting beat up, but he's not. He's gonna fucking go to the next level and kick some ass, and it's gonna look awesome.
Right. Okay, so we got Dragon Ball at 4. We're Naruto, My Hero, Ergo Proxy, Dragon Ball. What's the 5th?
Yeah, that's hard because it could be so many different ones.
Right. And no matter what you say, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in this by bringing another one up.
Yeah, no. Once I get to even 3 and 4 are hard to me. It's pretty easy with My Hero and Naruto. Those are my favorite animes for sure.
Right, and I think a lot of people would agree. People that are in the scene are going to be hard pressed to put anything above those two.
Some people will. Some of these dudes are such
I guess
snobs about
the
it.
purists.
But to me,
yeah,
I
was
just
gonna
look
say
at
the purists might.
Yeah, if you're a real purist about it, or like it has to be this certain director and this certain, or whatever. It's like
Right.
whatever you're gay. I'm just going about how the thing made me feel, the reaction it gave me personally. I'm not trying to like critique the whole thing. I'm just saying it's my favorite because I enjoyed it the most. Like
Right.
that whole pain freaking arc in Naruto, dude. Tell me there's not something. So what's better than that? What
Yeah,
build
and they
up
spent-
in conclusion was better
Well,
than that little arc?
And it was so good because there was so much foreshadowing. So you knew going in what was about to go down, but you
Right.
didn't want to believe it.
Right, when
and-
he destroys it, that first episode when Naruto actually comes back and the Leaf Village is destroyed, just the way they animated it and it looked like with all the
Yeah.
clouds and they did it. They just did it. It was just such a good production. And then they
And-
went ahead and
and-
fucked it up after that, like during the Ninja
Right.
War. But
Right.
that whole arc was.
But yeah,
I mean,
when
that was
Naruto
really
came
good.
back to the village, you immediately felt like you were standing in Naruto's shoes when he was looking at the devastation of the village. Mm-hmm. And
then you get chills in your hair stands up
Yeah.
when Tsunade goes out there and the thing comes after her and he fucking punches it into pieces when he was never that powerful before. Like he would,
Right.
because you knew he came back from training with the freaking Chief Toad, and it was like what?
Well,
how
and
powerful
then when
is he going to
Jiraiya,
be? What did he
you
get? And then all of a sudden he comes out and starts using it, and you're like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Yep. Yeah, and when Jiraiya arrives in the village in the rain, and you just know, oh man, so much is about to go down.
Yeah, totally. That was,
and you knew
that
he was going to
great
die.
anime.
You knew he was going to die before. That's what I mean. You had that feeling that it was over for Jiraiya way before those episodes even happened. So by the time you got there, it was like you had anxiety about it, going in. And then the animation was so good, the fights were so good, it was so satisfying.
Yeah,
To-
and
like-
then in that one, and they do this in a lot of animes, they think, oh, he's going to get out of it, and then no,
Right.
he
No.
really is not. Or they think, that's what
right.
they do too. It's that pushing and pulling on you. They push and pull on you, and so that's what My Hero does so well. It's the pushing and pulling, the friction, the tension and the release of the tension. You know what I mean? And they do that so good. It can't. I always say, if you watch My Hero Academia and don't kind of get the feels in some spots, you're fucking soulless.
You're a
You have
sociopath.
no soul.
Yeah, soul.
You are. Yeah, if you don't get if you watch My Hero blind and you don't get emotional at a couple points, you are a sociopath. 100%. You should
Totally, because it
to
drags
psychologist.
it out of you, man. It drags it out of you.
Yep.
It's like you can't just take give the show a chance and if you're being a dick about it, oh, they're stupid like David, but David's a sociopath.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So he would not get a feel out of that. But yeah, if you're that's how you can that should be the measure. Like if you go to a psychiatrist's office and they're trying to see if you're a sociopath, they should just show
Just
you
make
My
you watch
Hero. Make you watch it. If you don't cry or nothing, or you don't get the feels when fucking Midoriya fucking makes Todoroki accept himself, if you're not
Right.
like, oh man, that's awesome, or whatever, anything, then you're fucking asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. You should be put on a list.
Yeah, that's what I think. But anyway, now to think
So
about
back
it,
to
number
five.
Number 5 for me, I guess I would probably go ahead. Because I'm trying to think of shows, but I keep wanting to put a movie in there. Like
No,
Ninjas.
I want to do movies next. We'll do a top 5 movies next, but I want to keep it to episodics right now. The top 5 episodics.
Well, I'd have to, they're not peeking out in my head. Right now I'm watching that Seven Deadly Sins, but I'm disappointed in the quality of it. But I love the fucking Escanor character so much, I almost would put it in there. But there's definitely better stuff than that.
Yeah. So what's coming in at 5 though?
I'm gonna have to think for a second.
I'll throw out a couple. So Samurai Champloo.
That
There you
could
go.
be, dude, just because it was so well done.
Code
I mean-
Code Geass.
Code Geass, there it is. Code Geass, that's my number 5, right there. Lelouch, that shit was nuts. They paced that so good too. That's another one. If you miss an episode, you miss a lot.
Yep. I feel like
It-
that one. My only crit on that one would be it's super dude centric. That one's for the bros.
You know
I feel
what
like-
I don't like about that one? I actually don't like the animation style. I don't like the
I'd agree with
drawing
that.
style.
But the story's so
but
good.
The story is so cool. I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, dude. You forget about that after. And actually, the animation style is not bad. Like the robots fighting and shit was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if it was better than like a Gundam or a Evangelion, but it was good. And
What was it? What about the story made it so good? Was it just that Lelouch?
dude, when Lelouch accidentally fucking tells Nunnally to kill all Evans,
Yeah.
and she goes out there and she's like, "Kill everyone now!"
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Huh? No, she's like, "I'm serious," and she pulls out her pistol and shoots one of the people in the crowd, and everyone's like, "Oh."
Right.
That kind of shit is intense.
It was surprised. It
And
surprised
they
you
literally
all the
slaughter
time.
everyone in there. And there's a bunch of points in
Yeah.
that show where it was like that. They just threw you all these zingers. And you're like, holy fuck, really? That's the way that turned out? And even at the very last episode, honestly, I did not know that was his plan. I didn't know that was the plan.
Right. And
To have-
and that's what was satisfying too. Is like he plotted everything down perfectly, but then it was almost like a Sherlock Holmes mystery where after the fact, when you see it all come together, you were like always wowed, like, oh, that's pretty smooth.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
the way everything worked out, and then
No,
it made you.
it was perfect ending. It actually might
Yeah.
have been the best ending in any anime ever,
Right.
as far as I'm concerned. Because endings in anime are, let's face it, they're hit and miss.
Yeah,
That
it's
one,
definitely
that
a
one
coin
was a
flip
hit.
on most of them.
Yeah, that was a hit, man. That was how that should have ended, and you were so satisfied with it. You know, you were like, yeah, I okay. That's
Yeah.
resolution. That's conclusion.
I would say the whole show is satisfying. Like it's one of the most satisfying from arc to arc.
It is
from every episode.
I think it's a good number 5.
Yeah, once you get the resolution and every part of it, every time it was like, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it is, and it's got cliffhangers on every episode. It's just one of those shows.
So Champloo didn't make the top 5.
No, but that one was that's just a one season kind of thing. That honestly, if
maybe
you think
that's
about Champloo,
what it is too.
You just don't endure yourself to the characters in that short of a period of time.
That
it
I
was
would have to agree.
12 episodes or 24.
It was, I believe it was 20. No, I don't know. It might have been just 12. I remember it was one season though.
Because 24 is like the standard.
As good as it was, there was never that scene where you were just like totally cheering for the guy. You know what I mean? Just like Midoriya, like no Midoriya.
Right.
There was never that scene. It was just really fucking awesomely animated. The style of it was so cool. The little cutscenes in the modern beats that they threw in there, in like in a samurai show. It was just good. It was an awesome painting. You know what I mean? But
it was cool. Maybe that's it's the coolest, like the most hip and cool of anything.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily translate to the best
But
story.
Honestly, hip and cool what's the one with the girl and she wears the outfit? Kill La Kill.
Kill La Kill, yeah.
That's like the
Kill La Kill has the cool
kind of show
factor.
too. It's got but again, that's why Kill La Kill is not on there. Even though some of that shit looked so good and you love the little characters,
had, like, great design.
The design was fucking the best, dude.
But dope motion graphics.
You never got in. You never really were like totally into it.
It was fast food entertainment. It was bubblegum.
Right.
Like,
it was still awesome. I loved that show.
Yeah, it was great.
But it's just, it doesn't like make you like you could quit it. I think you did too. Quit it like halfway through the second season where it's just like, okay, I've had enough.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Like the first season,
that's not the same with Naruto or Midoriya. No. It's like you don't have enough. You're like, I gotta see what happens with these people.
Yeah, once I run out of episodes of My Hero, like I'm halfway through the 4th season, it's going to be a bummer. I'll be just like you, like, all right, when's the next one coming out?
Yeah, you have to put it out because they come out every October is the new season, and they're on a pretty good schedule. That's why another reason I like My Hero is because they don't have this fucked up production schedule. It's like, they just stop making them for fucking 3 months.
Yeah,
they make the whole season. They go through October through fucking whatever the spring, and then you got to wait till October again for the next one. But they always do it. But it's the most popular anime there is right now, so they'll always have a good schedule. Hopefully, I just hope they don't switch studios like fucking.
No, don't. It's so good right now.
Yeah, don't fuck that up because man, that 7 Deadly Sins on Netflix. It was such a kind of stupid little show, but it's entertaining. And the studio that did it did a pretty good job. They weren't that great, but they did pretty good. And then they switched studios in this last season, and it looks like dog shit. It looks
that's terrible.
It's too bad.
It must be a budget rework or whatever, where they saw how much money was actually making, and then decided to reallocate budget, somewhere else. The funny part of it is the studio does it now. It looks newer. You know what I mean? Like it looks cleaner. Oh yeah. But I'm sorry, the way it's animated, it looks. I haven't watched any of it yet. What's the premise?
It's set in a quasi world of demons, and at first, the demons basically live in this world, and the angels fought each other for thousands of years, and now you're in this world where they're kind of gone, but there's still these leftover. So is it remnants. Like Judeo-Christian based? Is it like Judeo-Christian fantasy? It's sometimes no, kind of, but no. It's just demons and angels, but it's more sacrilege or blasphemous than it is like following any gospel. You know what I mean? It's just they have angels and fucking demons, But like I said, it has one of the coolest anime characters ever, and you could almost just YouTube Escanor and just watch a couple of his scenes because it's so fucking hilarious. Dude, everyone loves, because you know how I don't like the wimpy fuckers, you know, that cry until they fucking lose it and then they're powerful, but they're still fucking crying or something.
Right.
And Escanor is the total antithesis of that because it's 7 deadly sins, and he's the lion Sid of pride, right? So he's all pride. And so, like, when he says he's got this deep voice and he's got a fucking mustache and shit, and he looks like a fucking Englishman, but he's all fucking ripped and huge. And and he's like, for instance, in one of the scenes, this demon that everyone is getting killed by, and they can't even walk towards him because it's the 7 deadly sins versus the 10 commandments at this point. The 10 commandments are demons, and one of the 10 commandments is this guy, and his commandment, if you hate him, you're paralyzed. You can't move. So they're all just standing there, and they can't do anything. But then all of a sudden it cuts to Escanor just stomping up to him, full armor, you know, and Escanor's all badass and huge. And he's like, "What? My commandment's not working on you." And he's like, "Yes, why would I hate you? I only feel pity on someone like you." And fucking, just like all that shit is so good, dude. All that shit that he says. And then like the dude hits him and beats up on him and shit, and he looks all fucked up. And then he's like, and then all of a sudden Escanor throws a left hook and just whacks him one, and he blocks it. And he's like, "Oh, you're pretty tough." And then all of a sudden he kind of feels it and falls to his knees. And then Escanor's like, "Oh, what's wrong? Did you find something on the ground?" And fucking, it was so good, dude. Everything he says is so good.
Yeah, I like those good. Good. Well, I mean, is he villainous?
No, he's a total hero. He's this lion Sid of pride, and it's like you don't even expect him. Like, he comes in the 4th season of the show, you never even see him, and all of a sudden in the 4th season or 3rd season or something, these two, one of the awesome characters, Bon, is running from these dudes, and they end up in Escanor's little tavern. And during the nighttime, he just looks like a little wimpy dude because his power is drawn from the sun or whatever. And so these demons come to his tavern looking for Bon, and they kind of like smack Escanor down at some point. He's like, "You're gonna do that," because he's this guy's commandment is another commandment where he will hit you, and then you get to hit him back, like the punching game, like a slap contest, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So everyone gets to turn to slap, and so he slaps down Escanor. It's like, "You got to play this game with me, and if you don't play, my commandment is you turn to stone. So you have to play the slap game with this guy, or you turn to stone." And so he slaps Escanor down when he's in his little form, or like slaps him on the back. And he totally, like, he's this powerful demon, so little Escanor just gets slammed to the ground into rubble, you know what I mean? But then the sun's coming up, so then it kind of shows that a little time has passed, and everything is getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and it's Escanor. And so he sees this axe on the wall, and the demon tries to take his axe that's mounted on the wall, but he picks it off the wall, and it's too heavy for him to lift. He's like, "What is with this axe?" And then all of a sudden, Escanor swipes it out of his hand, and it's the huge Escanor now. And he just tells him, "This is the divine axe Rita, and you can't hold it because, you know, basically you're a pussy." And, and he's like, "Are you ready to play your little game now, you know, or whatever?" And so now it's his turn, and he fucking cuts dude in half in one swipe. And the dude's like a demon, so his little magic pulls him back together, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And so he powers up to his maximum level to hit Escanor in this game, and like it shows this huge explosion, you know, when he hits him and stuff, and it's giant power, you know, destroy a mountain or whatever. And then it's Escanor with like a little cut on his arm, and the spear that he's using to swing at him is like barely cut into him. And he's like, "Really? That's all you got? My turn." And he pulls his axe up, and it does one of those anime scenes where it shows him giant, and then the little demon all small in front of him, because it's just showing how, you know, OP he is. And fucking the demon fucking takes off and turns to stone himself. And dude, in Escanor's like literally he has like 4 scenes in the whole thing, and he's still one of the best characters ever in anime, if you ask me. Just because I like
good
that
badass.
guy. Yeah,
Right.
the badass dude. That's just like that's why I like Goku too, because like he's always like, I'm gonna kick your ass, or I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like never like crying and shit.
Yeah, I can't stand if they're too beta. I can't get into it. Like, they have their place and stuff, but
I think they
too
do.
much.
I think they do all right with Midoriya because he's like a little shy or whatever, but not when it comes to like being a hero, you know.
Right, and well, Midoriya I think taps into like some human truths where the things he's emotional about, you can reflect on times in your life that were similar, where you were emotional about something similar, about wanting something so much you couldn't have, or
Yeah, that's why you get the feels at the end of the second episode when he tells him,
Yep,
you can be a hero too, you know, and you're like, oh,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Well, and the scene with his mom crying and telling him,
Yeah, totally,
you know,
dude. The way they build that up, and they do that in 2 episodes. That's why I'm saying you got to watch. You got to be watching the whole show.
Right. Okay, so let's go top 5 anime movies of all time. Because I feel like that's a totally different arena. Because the series are...
Yeah, because a lot of those movies that I like in anime are totally different than the series. You can't... Like,
Right.
For instance...
It's
for
a
me,
one-off.
For me, my top 1 or 2 could be the oldest anime I've ever seen, which is Ninja Scroll. I think that's probably my 1 or 2 top anime movies ever. That thing was genius.
Depending on what point in your life you watched Ninja Scroll 2, like there's a teenage kid right now that's going to watch Ninja Scroll for the first time and has never watched any other anime, and that will make you an anime fan. That will open up your brain to being like, wow, what else is there out in the universe that's like this?
Now get this, my number 2 after that, and these could be swapped back and forth, and it is funny because this is the way the movie, and this is what we're talking about with the movies. They're so different. My second favorite after that is the fucking Japanese Alice in Wonderland.
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away. That's my second favorite anime movie.
Yeah, and that could be number 1 too, because that thing is a masterpiece. Where
it's really
a masterpiece of everything. Yeah, like story, the animation of it is so top notch, and like everything of it, and it inspires wonder in you too when you watch it. You like feel like a little kid again when you're watching it.
Yeah, totally, and it's better. It's better than Alice in Wonderland. What am I talking about? Is it? It's
we kind of glossed over a little bit, but might be in here. Where's Ghost in the Shell in all this?
See, Ghost in the Shell, the movie, I think that the original Ghost in the Shell movie might be like number 5 for me on movies. The actual TV shows aren't in there because they just got a little too fucking long. Even though they're good, don't get me wrong, those shows are good. They're worth a watch, but they get so long-winded.
There's so many of them, and it feels like such a big afterthought. Like it's just like, there's all these fans of this, so let's just give them more content. Like
I like the headiness, like we talked about Ergo Proctus. I like that when it's heady, but when they take it too far and it's just like being heady for the sake of being heady, it's kind of just gets
It's like reading a technical manual,
and it's like, okay, you put me to sleep. But at the same time, that the episode of that show where the fucking little robots sacrifice their little brains to fucking take down the satellite or whatever,
right?
That was good. And, But honestly, that's probably the only good, really, really impactful part of that show that I watched.
Yep, I agree. Also, we'd be remiss if we didn't throw a shout out to where's Gundam in all this.
There's so many Gundams. How could you pick? But there was a couple Gundams that were really good.
Right.
But there were so many Gundam series. I can't. They all.
It's not in that. I still think. Yeah, exactly. Because of that. Because there's so much. It becomes muddled a little bit.
Yeah, you kind of beat it to death.
Right. It's not in that top 5. It's somewhere in the top 10 for sure.
Sure, and not like the Gundam I'm thinking of. There was one Gundam series that was better than the other ones I saw. I couldn't watch all of them because it's just, I mean, maybe there's one in there that's really fucking good and I'm missing it, but I'm sorry, I can't just.
I mean,
Unless
it's a great
long
show too. Like,
story. If it was one whole story, but they're all different stories. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's all these
And
different.
I
Like
think-
Naruto is one whole story. You have to just watch, and the
Right.
Gundams are like all this different shit, and it becomes just like a mess.
yep, yeah, agreed. Okay, so we have back to the movies. We have Spirited Away and Ninja Scroll battling for 1 and 2, and I'd almost put Spirited Away at 1, just because it is like
I think it's better.
It's going to be
I-
timeless. You know what I
it's a-
mean? In 20 years, you'll be able to watch. Anyone will be able to watch Spirited Away and say, "Wow, that was amazing." Ninja Scroll is too, but I think time is going to be less kind to it. Where just because it is such an old school, it'll be more looked at as like a classic rather than like a classic as far as like if you're teaching art history, you'd like look at how they animated, you know, in the 90s or whenever Ninja Scroll. When was the release date on Ninja Scroll? Like
Was it early 80s? Was it 80s? Late 80s?
oh, it's like we lost
him.
We lost Ivar.
Ninja Scroll. Was...
I want to look up and see when Ninja Scroll. Yeah, if you could.
1993?
1993, and you can kind of Ninja Scroll came out.
Hello?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, you're
the
back.
kid just turned off my chat for whatever reason.
Nice. So 1993, Ninja Scroll came out, and that's what I mean. It's like it feels.
It's just
more...
old as piss, dude.
Yeah,
What about
exactly.
Akira?
Akira's old as piss, but that's still so good. That's a top 5 for me. Sorry,
Yeah.
it is.
1988.
That's too
I mean,
good.
that's one of
It
the
might-
oldest.
Well,
It's
and
gotta
Akira,
be. It's got to be at
Akira's
least 3.
backgrounds are oil paintings. Like that's crazy.
No,
That there's
well,
like
dude,
giant
the score,
15-foot.
The score in Akira is awesome. Everything they pull that.
Yeah.
Remember the drums and shit? Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, totally, dude.
Yeah.
I thought that was good,
Yeah.
man, and it's iconic.
Or was I just doing Ghost in the Shell?
think you
No,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
the same. No, the Akira had all the drums and shit. Remember at the beginning when he's on
Yep.
the motor, dun, 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 you know, it's just
No.
you can't even do it with your mouth.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, Akira's all right. So, and Akira's all those backgrounds back from those old movies were all huge oil paintings, like 20-foot paintings that they actually
That's incredible.
panned a real camera across to get the moves and such. And it's why like those styles will never be created again like that. Like where it has that. It's almost like when you talk to a music person about analog versus digital and how the analog's more warm. Like that art is more warm because it's hand painted.
Totally.
and
You can find that even in some of the really crappy animation, like Fire and Ice back in the 80s, where
Right.
the animation looks so bad, but all those watercolor backgrounds were freaking sick.
Yeah. And you can
What about
you can
Vampire
feel.
Hunter?
Vampire Hunter D was excellent, but it's not
Not
even a
top
top 10. I don't even
Right.
think that's a top 10.
Are you talking
All right.
about the one in 2000 or the one in 85?
85, which was a good movie, and the one in 2000 was it wasn't as good as the first one even,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it just the story isn't good enough to be
All
in
right,
this
so-
top.
Do we agree that Spirited Away slightly takes Ninja Scroll for the number
I
one
think
spot?
probably it's just so good. It's
It
just,
is, and that's what I was trying to say is Ninja Scroll looks dated to the 90s, where you'll be able to watch Spirited Away and not know when it was made.
right.
like-
Well, you can kind of
It's
tell. I
like-
watched
what-
it recently,
yeah.
Max, and it looks a little older, but it's so well drawn that it doesn't matter.
It's
is what you're
almost
saying.
timeless, yeah. And it's so well done. Whereas Ninja Scroll, it kind of feels like budgeted
Yeah, it's chunky.
animation
It's
from the
chunky
90s.
at times. Yeah,
Right.
totally. Yeah,
Where it's like holding on a still. Like it's
right,
just a still
totally.
image
Yeah,
that you're
yeah,
zooming in
yeah,
on
totally.
slow.
But man, that story is great and freaking like
Yep.
they should redo that one. That's to
That would
me.
be
You
Ninja
should,
Scroll?
you should update Ninja Scroll and do it all freaking crazy.
Dude, that would be awesome. Okay, so we got Spirited Away, Ninja Scroll. I'd say Ghost in the Shell at a 5 is pretty solid. I mean, total agreement with that. That it because you can't leave. Ghost in the Shell is such a big part of the meta of anime in general that it has to be in there. It has to make.
Yeah, it almost has to be. I agree with that.
It has to be in the top 5.
I think that a lot of times it gets again. It tries to be too heady, and that's good at points, but that detracts from it. Honestly,
right. Yeah, I think that's a lock at 5. So all right, so the big ones then 3 and 4. What comes in 3? What comes in 4? All time.
Those are tough ones, man. I like that, dude. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that Naruto. I don't know, man. I like Naruto and Boruto. I wish those were one movie.
I don't think we can throw those movies because those movies are still nested into the episodic universe.
That's still part of the episode.
Yeah, and Naruto, he's already holding the top spot in the other list. So
you should consider
it's just more
just
Naruto,
another episode, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just a long episode.
I really, dude, I really like that.
Considered a movie.
Oh yes, those are movies. I don't know because a lot of people would put Berserk in there.
I was just thinking
5.
Berserk too. I think Berserk you got to go 4, just because it's one of those.
Well, it's hard because that's episodic 2. That's got to be in the top 10 of episodes somewhere, you know?
Yeah, but if you watch with the remake with the 3 movies, it's just basically 3 long movies. What is it, like 6 hours altogether?
It's just one long movie split into 3, and it's just basically that whole season split up into 3 movies.
Yep.
So I don't know
I would
what
consider
you do with that.
Berserk to be one.
That's got to be
movie,
somewhere in there.
Because Berserk has its own episodic, but the episodics you can't.
Well,
even put on
the
the
attack
list.
on Doldry, where Guts is the 100-man slayer. That's one of my favorite scenes ever.
Right. Yeah, that's why it. I feel like we can't leave it out. I would put Berserk at 4.
I was sticking in there. I'm not sure where. That's a tough one.
So if you could only watch one or the other, you could only watch Ghost in the Shell, or you could only watch the 3 Berserk movies. Which would you watch?
I would watch the 3 Berserk movies for sure. That shit was awesome.
That's how I feel too. Yeah, and it's one of those too where it's gonna if you don't know anything about it.
There's a lot of attitudes about the CG too. A lot of people didn't like that, which I thought was crazy. I thought it was the most well done, cell shaded shit I had seen up until that point.
Yeah, and it just enhanced everything that was going on, especially when he was riding around in the crowds and like. He had like a rooster tail of enemies
I thought so too.
Behind him.
And again, referring to the 100-man slayer scene, when it goes into slow motion and the music's about to start playing and he's about to go berserk, and it's all slow mo, and the guys are running at him. I thought that looked so good.
It did. Yeah, it was. I don't know. Again, you're never going to please all the purists.
No, you're not.
Okay, so the 3 spot then. What's in the 3 spot? Is it another Miyazaki? Like Princess Mononoke was another one where it's like beautiful.
I don't think that gets in there. I'm sorry, that doesn't get in there for me. I thought that movie was boring.
It was boring.
I'm sorry.
It was boring.
It wasn't that good. Everyone, Princess Mononoke, Princess fucking slow as can poke. He's slow and pokey is what he's about.
Princess Slow and Pokey. All right, yeah. So agreed. That's not in the top 5. There's so many movies. It's like
there's so many. It's hard for me to draw. I mean, I keep thinking of Sword of a Stranger, but the Man Boy Love just
that was a really good movie. But there was way too much.
See, I want to put it in there because that last fight scene's probably the best fight scene ever animated by hand ever.
It is, but it's a one-off. It's a one-off. There was too many cringy moments in the story that took you out of it.
Totally. But that if we were doing a fight list, that would be freaking in my top 3. The Sword of
Afro Samurai
final fight.
Yep.
Afro Samurai was pretty good, but it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not great. It's not a movie anyway.
It's fun. It's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, it was almost there. It didn't quite turn the corner. Afro Samurai.
No, because it's done. It was written by. It was an American thing. With
Japanese, so you want to hear one of my
it.
first anime movies I've ever seen was Demon City Shinjuku.
That's a great movie. I don't know if it could be top 5, but yes, I watched Demon City Shinjuku right after I watched Ninja Scroll, and that was my first anime. I was like going to Blockbuster, and Demon City Shinjuku was there too. I remember watching that. I remember watching Wicked City.
The scene where the guy where he's having sex with the chick, and then she turns into mush, and her pussy becomes like
twat. Yeah, her twat
becomes a mouth
teeth.
of razor teeth. And she turns into a weird spider thing.
Oh, dude, that is a crazy movie.
I think I was just like tripping acid at the Peacock's house and saw that like the first time.
That's probably my copy. I actually bought that.
I think it was. Wicked City was really cool. So, I mean, what are we missing? What are we missing from the movies? That's the obvious one we're missing.
Well, it's hard for me now because I've watched so many series.
Appleseed.
Do
you like Appleseed at all?
Ooh, those are good.
Appleseeds are good. And amazing.
Those are
art
good.
Too.
Yeah, those are another one that kind of set a tone. You know.
Yeah.
That kind of like
I loved
created a whole style of art.
Yeah, and it was it was like that hyper technical, where you could see like every hose and little bit and part on the engines.
It reminded me of that cyberpunk shit that I used to look at in books.
Right.
Area Zero's also a cyberpunk movie too.
Which?
Area Zero.
I don't know that one, I don't think.
It's old. It's I think 88 as well. Kind of the same thing. She's a bounty hunter. Like intergalactic bounty hunter or whatever. And it's very what's the word? I haven't seen it in so many years though. Oh my gosh. But I used to be obsessed with it back in the day. But she's an intergalactic bounty hunter, and like the Zerum is this alien being or whatever that, it's kind of the basic
What you're
thing.
describing reminds me of what's the one that starts with an M and the bitch is always singing? It's all about the bitch is always singing, and that's actually pretty good.
What about Paprika?
You know what? I've
that
never
one.
watched it. I've never watched it.
Oh, really?
It's always on a recommended list for me, but I never watched it.
So wait. Did we forget Akira? Is the list already done?
We already added Akira.
No, but it's Spirited Away.
Akira's in there for me.
Wait, Spirited Away.
I would say Spirited Away.
Spirited Away,
Akira.
Ninja Scroll. Okay,
Ninja Scroll.
And
I
Ninja
put
Scroll
Ninja Scroll
after
3
Akira?
now. Yeah, because
Okay.
Akira was
I'd
a better
agree.
achievement than Ninja Scroll.
Yeah, okay, so
I just love
Spirited
Ninja
Away,
Scroll.
Akira, Ninja Scroll, and then
Something, and then Ghost in the Shell.
and then
Or maybe we'll just go Ghost in the Shell until somebody bumps it out.
What was 4? We had a 4.
Berserk.
Berserk.
Berserk. And we'll just
I like
wrap all
that.
those movies up into one.
I like that as a top 5. As far as
That's pretty good. As far as like just awesomeness, just like
yeah.
Entertainment-
If you watched only
entertainment
those
quality.
5 movies, you wouldn't be disappointed. If you're watching
Yeah, they're all
Spirited
really good.
Away, Akira, Ninja Scroll, Berserk, and Ghost in the Shell, that's a solid top 5 right there.
oh yeah, it is.
Okay,
I'm in
so
agreement.
let's. What about? All right, so let's do a top 5 fights of any.
That's
shows.
too hard. There's no way I could ever figure that out. Of any
You really
show,
couldn't.
of any show, because I was just talking about the other night about Upgrade when the freaking AI
Upgrade's
takes
a great
body over.
fight.
That shit was the best fight ever.
Right.
I found that to be so well done, and the way he
I don't
did
know.
that
I don't know if it's
physical
my
acting.
number 1. I
I
definitely
don't know.
put it.
I
at
was just thinking about it the other day. I could
put
think
it
of a
at
ton
3,
of them.
maybe.
It's
all right. So
pretty good, dude. When he
what's
hits him
the-
with
what's
a
the
coffee
best-
cup.
What's the best? Yeah, that was good. What's the best ever? What's the best fight? Number 1.
Best fight
fight
number one.
scene.
I would have to take hours of
Let's
review.
just keep it to anime. Let's just keep it just to anime.
Oh, anime Sword of the Stranger fight, I'm telling you, is not number one, but it's on my top 5 for sure. I will YouTube that and just watch that fight.
Yeah, Sword of the Stranger fight was amazing. I would put the Ulicora fight in Bleach in there somewhere.
That's probably, I was going to say that's got to be number 2 for me. What
about the Naruto fights? Is
Naruto fights, honestly, it's hard to say because not
Hello? Check.
I got you. Okay. The Naruto fights, it's hard because those fights aren't like, it's like they're drug out, you know, and it's not like just one fight, you know what I mean? It's like but I would say that Naruto versus Pain was my favorite fight in that whole show.
But that was like, it's definitely not one. That one's maybe rounding out at 5 or something.
See, I don't like because it's more than one show, and it's not just Naruto fight. It's like Naruto's fighting as his one form, then he turns into the thing, and then he turns. You know what I mean? It's like hard to say.
I'm happy to drop it off. I'm happy to drop it off the list because again, Naruto's already number 1 in series to watch. So if it doesn't have the best fight, who cares?
So the demon Ichigo.
Yep. Demon Ichigo versus Ulicora was fucking amazing. It was epic. It had everything. Like Ichigo had to overcome
the
during the
build
fight.
Up, you had been building up that fight for almost 200 episodes, and by the time you get there, and they make it worth it too. Like that's the whole like brink of death coming up. You know, he's screaming, "I will protect you," and turns into the frickin' demon, and then like totally destroys Okuria, which is seemingly invincible. It's everything an anime fight should be.
Yep. Yeah, it really is. So that's it. That's easily 2, if not 1, I feel like. But Sword of the Stranger is
Sword
right
of the
there
Stranger.
too.
Sword of the Stranger kind of had a build up like that in the movie, but the movie was weird in itself. Even though you kind of liked it, you know, you're like, oh, it's kind of weird.
It had great parts of it, and then it would just get really cringy.
But still, it had enough build up for that fight to be awesome. To have enough, love for that character to be like, oh wow, this is. Oh, what's going to happen, you know, or whatever. And then the way it was animated, I'm sorry, I have not seen anything like that ever in anime.
Yeah,
it's a hand-drawn sword fight that is so pretty. There's not one frame held longer than it should be. There's, you know, everything is just pieced together in the most tightly woven way in that fight. It's so good. I liked also. I got to put Midoriya in there versus Muscular. That was a one-off
Midoriya
fight
versus Muscular.
It's
such a fast one too. But
made a tear in my eye. You know, I was like, oh wow. It wasn't animated the best, but it was still like that studio does a pretty good job. And it was like it's just all about the feels, man. That fight gave everyone in the world the feels.
Right. And yeah, that's definitely, and so fast too. That's how you know something's good, is where it doesn't need to be drawn out over, 100 episodes. 5 minutes, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's half of one episode, really.
Right. Yeah, it's 10 minutes, and it gives you everything that you want. You emoted, you walked away satisfied. It was cool. I mean, the fight itself. But all right, so is it the best fight scene? Because there's not much fighting that really happens.
Yeah,
it's like four. It's like
it
four
doesn't hold
punches.
a candle to the Sword and the Stranger thing. It doesn't hold a candle. Sword and the Stranger is like whoa, wow,
yeah.
Oh my, wow. Just everything's just like holy shit.
Yeah. So Sword of the Stranger is, I think, at the top spot right now as far as just like a fight scene you can watch and just be like, wow, that's badass.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think then I gotta throw actually. When Eren fights the female Titan, that's not as good a Sword of the Stranger either, because that's really high bar. But that was a good fight. That was a one-off fight too, in one episode, and you're just like whoa in that episode.
That was cool.
That was a good fight.
Yep.
I'm
So
going to go ahead and put that in there. Aaron
I'm gonna go
versus the female Titan.
I'm gonna go Sword and the Stranger 1, then 2 would be Bleach Unicor. I'm probably butchering
definitely. That could be
name,
one or
the
two. That's
pronunciation.
probably one or you could probably switch one or two on that too. But
Yeah,
I don't know. It's close.
those two are battling. Those two are fighting for the top spot, and then the Attack on Titan is 5 or 4?
It may not be in there. I'm just thinking of that because that was a pretty incredible looking fight. You know, they're in that
Right.
little forest. You know,
Yep.
it's like when she punches him with the hardening and he slides his teeth up her arm and uppercuts her in the stomach. I mean, that shit
Yep.
looked cool, man. I
Yep.
thought that was pretty good. But there's so many good fights. Like I said, this was so hard one to deal with. You guys haven't seen this, but I get Goku versus Jiren after Ultra Instinct.
Uh-huh.
Fucking dude, like that's the same as Sword as a Stranger, except totally different. Like Sword of the Stranger's all like super tight, and like the animation is like, you know, people there freaking using all this photo reference and shit to make everything perfect. Watching sword fights between like real people, you know that's what they're doing. You know, like basically
Right.
tracing a real sword fight because it looks so good. But then Dragon Ball Z is just like total freehand animated chaos. And, and they do it so good too. So it's like at the opposite end of the spectrum, but still to me just as good. They're all just like just moving so fast, and they're bouncing off of everything. And there's explosions everywhere.
Yeah.
I
mean, all Dragon Ball fights
Where do
are
you
kinda like
put
that.
Dragon Ball then?
No,
3?
dude, they take it to the next level. You got to watch it.
Yeah.
Like
Would that
you think you saw Dragon Ball fight, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay,
It's like Goku versus Frieza, no?
No, Goku freaking comes up with power that's like the size. It's like creates his own galaxy of power.
Wow. Because I'm
It-
just saying,
it-
Goku versus Frieza, don't they blow up worlds, basically? Like,
Yeah, fuck off. No. We're way beyond that. They're in Void World during this fight. They can't even
Wow.
fight on the world. They're fighting in the God plane of existence. It's totally.
plane of existence.
I'm serious. It's not. That's
So
not how
crazy.
You can't
It's
make
called
them
Dragon
more
Ball Super.
powerful. Dragon Ball Super, dude, watch it. It's excellent. You know,
All right,
it's kind
I'll
of
watch
a
it.
lot of it's stupid. Like I said, you could skip like 10 episodes of that, and not really hurt you. You know, but you got to watch just the ending. You know, by the time he gets to his superpower and levels up, you know, just like Dragon Ball Z is all about leveling up. That shit is awesome, and they fight awesome in that. I thought so. I'm gonna put that in mine. But you guys might have to watch it before you decide. But man, that is
Where do
definitely
you
my
put
top
it?
5. I love that. I would put it at 4 or 5. I mean, honestly, a lot of the Dragon Ball Z fights I loved, but they're not good for this particular thing. The reason I'm putting the Super one in there is because of the way it was animated. And it was kind of, like I said, they kind of throw it back and animate it sort of the same, but they just made these little improvements in the way that they sort of put the idea across, and also like the power level is so much higher. It's just like it's blowout shit.
That's
It
crazy,
blows it
man.
out. It's awesome. So I got that at 4 for sure. I loved that fight.
Okay, so we got Sword of Stranger, and then Bleach, and then Dragon Ball at 4. We got spots for 3 and 5. Where does the Berserk fight come in?
Oh,
5?
dude, that was so. You know what? That could be my 3. I loved the 100-man fucking slang, but that wasn't. I don't know. Are we talking about fights between like two characters? You know, because that's what kind of was thinking. Like
just
like,
awesomeness.
like-
I mean, one-on-one.
just the way the
face-off?
fight looked, then definitely. But I mean, in Berserk, that fight really wasn't between. It was just cool looking. It was definitely cool
Yeah.
looking, but I was more thinking of like protagonist versus antagonist. You know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's try and find 2 more in that vein. A 3 and a 5, protagonist, antagonist.
There's probably so many that we're missing right now. I have
Oh,
to
dude,
look.
there's
there's
anime
just too
fans
many to count.
freaking the fuck out.
No, but
So
you
they're
know,
like-
out of the most popular ones, out of the most, you know, well done, popular fights, I'm sure there's obscure shit everywhere. I mean, that Cowboy Bebop fight at the end, there was like a gunfight / fist fight. You know what? That was really good.
Yeah, that was dope.
For protagonist versus antagonist, you know, a lot of people probably are like, yeah, you got to get that in there, you know.
I heard Keanu owned the property of this.
He did. He's gonna.
They do.
As far as I heard, he was gonna try to make it live action.
Yep.
Right. I would love to see that.
Well, they fail.
Oh
so
yeah,
much at those.
Cowboy
It's
Bebop
They do-
live
they do.
action.
They do fail so much at those.
It's
But I
kinda
mean, if
hard
it
to
is,
turn that into live action.
yeah, it'd be a lot of money. But
Worth it.
I almost wanted to segue to something, but let's stay
Leo
in
owns
this.
Akira.
Yeah, Leo does own Akira, and I'm
Fuck Leo.
yeah, and I'm not confident he would ever turn that into anything watchable, any sort of remake.
Yeah,
They
he'd probably
need to-
turn it. He'd probably turn it into a pedophile movie.
yeah, but let's just leave Akira as it is and not,
Fuck with it.
fuck with it.
No, they already remade the audio and they totally screwed that up. Like the original audio
Right.
is so much better than that Akira 2003 or whatever it was. That it sounded like shit.
Yeah, totally. So I'm just trying to think of the other the other big fight shows. I mean, with Naruto, Bleach, Berserk. Who else is always battling?
Well, there's a ton of shows that we could say, but as far as I'm trying to think of how the thing actually looked, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and
to
that's
me,
kind of
visually,
visually like when
the-
when
You
the
didn't
fight
like any of
happens.
Samurai Champloo's fights?
Oh,
Those
Sam,
are
that's
all
what
those
we're-
all look awesome. That fight in the bar when they first meet, that shit was tight.
Yeah,
That was dope.
I'd say we could just maybe nest all the fighting in Samurai Champloo at like 4. Like
Pretty
you could
much.
just you could randomly like spin the globe and put your finger down on any of the fights in that series and you'd be satisfied.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that was some cutting shit. That was really good the way they
I
animated
love
those.
that.
Yeah, like the fight on the rooftop too, where it's got like taiko drums and shamisen going on.
Dude, and then if you just put in YouTube like best anime fights, they're gonna bring up so many more that you've never even seen. But when you watch the YouTube, you're like, damn, that looks freaking
Yep.
awesome. Because there is a ton like of obscure animes where like there's certain scenes with the whole anime itself fucking sucks. Like I forget which one it was, but it was the bloodiest looking fight scene, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch this anime, and I started watching it. I couldn't get through the first 2 episodes, and I was like, oh well, screw it. I mean, it's not worth it, that little scene. But so I guess you got to kind of name animes that are worth watching too, you know.
Yeah.
But I think everyone should go watch that Sword of a Stranger fight. You don't need to watch the movie. It kind of helps to build up the scene. But actually, the whole battle before that too, like that was a big ass scene of death and really nice looking animation, and it all accumulated with the sword fight between that blonde dude and him. But that whole scene at the end was 20 minutes of like badass battle animation.
What about Hunter x Hunter?
I hated that show.
That's a huge. Some people love that show.
I fucking hated it. I watched it, and because I got all hyped for it, right? It's like, all right, this is gonna be my new flavor of the month. You know, I'm gonna watch Hunter x Hunter finally, and you get through the first part of it when he's going through like the training to be a hunter or whatever, and you're like, okay, it's building up. You know, nothing amazing. You know, some cool shit here and there. Then they get into the fucking ants and the fucking bullshit, and you're just, and to me, it just was out of nowhere. And then that's the whole show. Like, that's the whole fucking show. And the dude loses, and I watched the Hunter x Hunter 2011 or whatever. I don't know if the original one's different or if there's other ones. I don't know. I just watched one of them. But I thought that shit was confusing and dumb. There's one scene where he like powers up or whatever and, you know, kills that freaking cat ant bitch. And
Right.
that's pretty brutal or whatever, and it maybe had a little impact, but I'm sorry, that whole show, and then it just ends, and they're trying to get him. I'm sorry, that show just didn't make sense to me at all. The whole thing was fucking
Okay.
incomprehensible.
What about One Punch Man?
One Punch Man's great, but it's a spoof.
Yeah, but what about Saitama versus Boros?
That was awesome. That could be up there for me. That was really well animated. Like,
Right.
that looked fucking cool when they fought. It really did. So that could definitely be in there for me. But like I said, it's not even a serious thing. Did you watch the new One Punch Man?
No, I haven't watched the latest yet.
It's kind of a disappointment. But
that seems like one
character...
they should have just let die after. That's one where more money got thrown at it just because it was a success. But that's not always what you should do.
I agree. I think One Punch Man should have just been a
one
season of OP Japanese animation heroes. That's what I thought it was.
Let it just settle epic like that,
right?
And
and have it be a classic, and then. But honestly, they're setting it up for some cool shit to continue. Like the people were upset about, I think, this second season because honestly, Saitama's not even in the thing barely. It's kind of about this villain, Garo, and it's kind of his arc. It's his arc, and I kind of looked into the anime a little bit to see just like what the fuck is the point of all this. And Garo, I guess, is a regular human, and like Saitama becomes super powered for whatever reason. Garo's going like the opposite way. He's just becoming super powered from working and fighting, but he's becoming a monster instead of just like a god like Saitama, you know?
Right.
So you kind of, in this season, you do see, there's actually some pretty good episodes with that involve Garo, but you're expecting Saitama to be there so much that you're almost like thrown off. But when I think about it, if I watched it again and I knew to focus on Garo, it's actually probably pretty good.
Yeah, I think I might just not watch after the first season and just let it lie.
I'll leave it alone. I'll let you know because I want to see what happens with Garo. Because they just leave it open-ended at the end of the second season, and you're kind of like, what the fuck? But that character is cool. So I want to see what happens if they kind of like focus on that or bring it all together in the third season. We'll see. But if they don't, then yeah, it's not worth it. I'll let you know.
Okay, so let's see if we can bring this list back. So maybe with a One Punch fight is maybe 5. Do we put it at 5 just because it is kind of a spoofy, or would you say it's higher than 5?
As far as the way it looks, it could be. I really love that. It looks so cool. But it's not better achievement than that Sword of a Stranger fight, and it's not. It's kind of in the vein of the Kill Lock Kill, you know?
Right.
Like it's just visually and design wise, just wow, they just nailed it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be up there, I think, but. I think when you have something like Sword of a Stranger, compare it to that, it's a little different. Because, again, they cheat in those animations. They just cheat really good in those awesome designed animations, you know? They use a bunch of stuff that makes it so you don't have to work as hard. Flashing lights.
It's more angles
pink
and
lines
flashes.
Speed
lines.
Yes, exactly. A bunch of backgrounds that are just washed through, you know what I mean, just to show movement. And, like... And that looks great, and it's great, but it's not like Sword of a Stranger where they're fucking drawing it out, you know.
So Sword of the Stranger, Bleach, and then where's Dragon Ball in that?
I got Dragon Ball number 3 just because I think
3.
that
okay,
when they're all going so fucking fast and shit and back and forth, yeah, it's a little different, but man. I
Dragon
think
Ball
that
3.
is
and then maybe
it's the only way to show OP shit like that, in my view.
And then maybe 4 and 5 is where, you know, Berserk and One Punch Man rounded out the 4 and 5 as, you know, not quite the same thing, but still stunning fights that are visually impressive.
I think Berserk could be considered in the same vein as the Sword of a Stranger. It's just 3D, you know, so they have to animate it. It's just different, but that looks clean, crisp. You see all the detail, you know. You see, you know what I mean. And that's why I love that too. And it was good. It gave you not the feels, but like the sound goes down. It plays that like Spanish whatever guitar music, and he just starts cutting people in half, and that is really good.
Yeah, and that's another one where it's just nice to settle in and watch the badass go down because you know. You're at that point. You already know how badass Guts is, so it's just you know.
Well, he sort of levels up right there. It's one of those level up scenes, you know.
Right. Yeah, where he really asserts his dominance over everyone else too.
Right.
Or like, and you kind of realize at that point, like, whoa, he is like, this is how strong he really is.
He's on another level, right? He levels up and he goes to another level beyond human, you know?
Yeah, totally. I love Berserk too because it is the to hell and back. You know,
did you watch the 2016 and 2000 whatever 18 or whatever it was Berserk
series?
Yeah,
I watched through a couple, like a season of it. Maybe
the problem is that the studio that does it doesn't do the animation well.
But it's not very good. It's not.
But
very clean.
if you stick it out, it's worth it if you like the story.
Yeah, the story is still good, and because you know you're down to follow Guts wherever he's going, but the animation is really bad at parts, like so bad it pulls you out of the show.
And they took the nipples off the women, and the way that they did all that, it was like, hey man, just don't show them naked then if you're not going to show the nipples, you know. So there are a lot of design choices that fucked that show, and it is the reason why I don't think they're going to finish it. Because they made some poor design choices, but like I said, if you're a Berserk fan, they're worth watching because it does follow the story, the manga exactly.
Right. Okay, I think we made some pretty good lists right there.
Yeah,
I don't know
top of our head, we weren't prepared. Yeah. We just top of our head. That was pretty good.
I don't know how long we've been going here, but. I feel like that's a good spot to wrap it up. So, and then I'm going to be trying to do these podcasts more regularly. I'm going to try and get them out at least once a week. And honestly, we're going to talk about other things on this one, but the anime just took over, and that's the way the conversation went, and that's just fine. But generally, we'll be talking about a little more gaming kind of stuff, movies, TV shows, just whatever's kind of going on in the current entertainment sphere. And I have some other ideas. I might try and do some, like, when we're talking about something good or bad, I'm going to try and get some footage in there so we can maybe even show visually what we're talking about. But there's a lot to do getting this new channel starting, so we'll have to see. But if you want to check out more stuff, we're streaming on Twitch now at SayonaraPunk. Follow on Twitter at SayonaraPunk. And we'll be on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and I'm still undecided whether it's worth it to make the Facebook page or not. I don't like giving the old Zuckerberg anymore anything. But we'll see. It might work out where it's worth it to have the Facebook page going. But this was Anime Update with Ivar and Joshi and Russ in the background, and I'm the SayonaraPunk, and thanks for watching.